Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another speed build. So today I am building something a little bit different, and today I am building a home for Bonehilda, which I think is super fun, and I just absolutely love this house, so I'm hoping that you guys are going to like it as much as I do. But of course, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. So another fun thing about this build is I'm building it in collaboration with MsGryphi. If you guys have never heard of her before, I will have her channel linked in the description box so you guys can find it really easily. And I will also have her video linked in the description because she is going to be building a home for Patchy, which I think is so fun, and I can picture how cute it's going to be. It's going to be so like fall themed and adorable because I think Patchy is just such a cute and fun character. So definitely check out the description box so you guys can find her video and her channel. And yeah, I think you guys will love her if you guys have not watched her videos before because she's so talented and creative. She came up with this collaboration idea. She asked me if I wanted to collaborate, and she said that she had an idea for building something that was kind of seasonal, but for not your typical Sims, but you know, for like extra characters in the game. And I thought that was such a fun idea, and I was so happy to collaborate with her again. And yeah, I just love this build. I think it's so pretty. I originally started building here in the vampire world. What's it called? It's called Forgotten Hollow. That's the one. Sometimes it is nearly impossible to remember the names of the worlds in The Sims 4. But anyways, I started building here because I thought I was going to do more of like a spookier build. But the more I started thinking about Bonehilda and the house I envisioned her living in, this was just not the place to do it. I wanted her to have like a prettier yard and a more like kind of fun and cheerful house. And I felt like if I was going to build here, it was going to end up more like spooky and dreary and kind of dark. Even though I was making it red originally, I think that's super fun. The original Victorian that's on this lot in Forgotten Hollow is red too. And for the longest time, I've been wanting to replace it with another like red Victorian because I think it's just like really pretty in this world. I think the lighting's like perfect for it, but I just didn't really see Bonehilda living in a red house. I saw her living in more of like a cream colored house, like her bones, because she's a skeleton. And so I wanted to build something that was more in her color scheme. So even though I think this is pretty, it just wasn't the like vision I had for Bonehilda. But of course, if you guys disagree, it's an easy thing to change. And you could also move it back to this world. Although I ended up building it on a different lot orientation. I think I built it on a lot that's the same size, just long instead of wide, if you guys get what I mean. So yeah, you'll see me move it here once I finish the entire structure. I built the house and then I had to move it. And so I moved it to the world of the realm of magic world. I am forgetting the names of all the worlds right now. It's the Glimmerbrook world. I think that's the name of it. But anyways, I moved it there, and I think it just suits that world so much better, or at least Bonehilda suits that world so much better in my opinion, because I think she's more of like a fun, silly character and not like a scary vampire character. And you can play as her too, and I did not know this until I built this. I was like looking up things about her, and you can have babies with her. You can just play as her. You can download her from the gallery. That's what I did to take the screenshots. I just downloaded her from the gallery, and I didn't have to have any other Sim in my household. And I thought that was so cool because I had no idea that that was a possibility. And Bonehilda is a character that's been around for quite some time in the Sims franchise. I think it was first released, or she was first released in The Sims 2, if I remember correctly, and then again in The Sims 3, and then now again in The Sims 4. If you guys don't have Bonehilda in your game and you would like her to be in your game, she did come with the paranormal stuff pack. So that was the last stuff pack to come to The Sims 4. So I ended up using a ton of stuff from that pack in this build. I ended up putting a gazebo in the backyard with the like the crystal ball on the table. I'm not exactly sure what that table is called exactly, but you'll see that once I decorate the backyard and of course move the build to the other world. But yeah, I thought that was such a fun thing to include in the build, because even though I don't know if Bonehilda would necessarily want to use like the crystal ball and do those sort of interactions, I mean, she could probably have any personality you would like her to, so she totally could, but you actually, I think, do a seance through the crystal ball to summon her, and so she actually comes from interactions with it. So I don't know, I just thought it was appropriate. But anyways, here I'm moving on to the interior to work out the floor plan. This floor plan was so tricky for me, but thankfully I ended up putting together something that I actually really like, and I think it makes sense for a Victorian style house because it's pretty closed off. I did end up using archways. I ended up using the archways that came from Realm of Magic, just because I thought they suited this build pretty nicely. I thought about using the ones that came from Strangerville because that's like the doors and windows that I'm using, which I think, I mean, obviously work well for Victorian homes because they were designed to fit Victorian homes, but I don't know, I felt like the archways from Realm of Magic kind of added something a little bit more like magical and kind of special, and they were really intricate and had lots of details. So I thought they were really pretty in here, and they separated the spaces really nicely. You know, was still making it feel closed off like a Victorian would be, but also making it feel like open and airy, because I just really love it when you're taking screenshots when you can see into like the next room. I think it's just really pretty. So yeah, happy to use those in here. And something else that I did in this build that I thought was really fun is I included a nursery. So that's the room that I have the wallpaper in right now. I don't end up keeping the wallpaper that same color because I change up the whole color scheme to suit the colors of Bonehilda. So I don't keep that one, even though that one would probably work because it is black and white, and that's the color scheme I went for in the kitchen. But yeah, I ended up changing it anyways. But I was thinking Bonehilda lives here all by herself, and she's always dreamed about having a baby and she didn't have one while she was alive, and so now while she's a living skeleton, she wants to have a baby. So maybe you have a sim that would like to have a baby with Bonehilda. I don't even know how that looks exactly. I imagine with clothes on it looks just like a normal sim, and then maybe her like skeleton stretches out if she's like naked or something. I don't know how that looks, and I imagine the baby would just be a regular Sims baby because I think that's the only option we have in game besides like babies that can turn into vampires or mermaids when they're older. But I don't think the baby would have anything special about them. I don't know. Let me know if you guys know for sure if you've ever had a baby with Bonehilda. But my Bonehilda in this house wants to have a baby desperately, so she has the nursery. Maybe she'll even decide to adopt a baby. But that's what she wants to do. But yeah, I've already moved the house over here to Glimmerbrook, but even though I like had an idea of what I wanted to do for the landscaping, I was kind of stumped on it. So I figured since I already got the floor plan put together, I got the wallpapers and everything, I figured I would just start decorating it, and I thought the landscaping would just come easier later, and it totally did. I'm so happy that I didn't force it. Sometimes landscaping just doesn't come that easily. Sometimes it's actually like the most easy thing for me, and then other times I just don't even know where to begin. And so this was one of those times, and so I just started decorating the interior, and I just love the interior. I think it's so pretty. I used a lot of whites, creams, and blacks and like dark wood tones. I tried to use a combination of black and like brown wood tones, and I think they actually work together really nicely in this build. Sometimes I feel like they kind of clash, but I think I made it work. And then the creams and whites are supposed to represent her skeleton, and then she wears a maid outfit, so it's supposed to represent that, and that's where I got the black from. And so basically the entire color scheme of this build was from Bonehilda's appearance. So let me know if you guys would go that same direction, or if you've ever built a house for Bonehilda before. Let me know how it turned out, because I'm very curious. But yeah, in here is of course the living room. I didn't include a TV because I didn't think it suited the style of this interior at all. So you could easily place one on top of the mantle or put a little side table somewhere with like a tiny little TV on it if you really want your Sims to be able to watch TV. But yeah, I just imagine Bonehilda would sit in here and read next to the fireplace. And something I have to mention is this fireplace mantle. I think it's so pretty the way I decorated it. I ended up moving that painting, but looking back, I actually really liked that painting of that Victorian house on top of the fireplace. I exchanged it for the painting that came from Vampires of that really pretty vampire lady that's in like the belle sort of dress. I don't know if that was the right decision or not. I think both look nice there, but I think the house painting might have looked a little bit better. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. But anyways, over here is a tiny little downstairs bathroom. I originally wasn't going to include a downstairs bathroom, but then I decided I had like this awkward space over here behind the stairs, and I could easily turn it into a downstairs bathroom. And it's always nice to have, you know, 2 bathrooms in a build, especially in a 2-story build, because then your Sims don't have to go upstairs every time they need to use the bathroom. So yeah, that fit in there pretty nicely, and I just really like the way the living room turned out. I think it's super cute. And something that you'll also notice is I'm using the tool mod a few different times here in this build to like resize objects and to place things a little bit easier, and so that has made my life like so much better building in The Sims 4. There's so many like possibilities. So like I've been mentioning since I started using it, if you guys have thought about downloading it and then changed your mind, just download it. You won't regret it. You'll absolutely love it. If you're on PC, of course, unfortunately, console players cannot download mods or anything. Hopefully that'll change in the future. But anyways, over here is going to be the entryway. I kind of struggled with what I wanted to place in the entryway, so you'll see me trying out like a few different things. But what I end up doing is just placing like a little chair, a side table, and then my basic like entryway items, like a coat rack and an umbrella rack. I didn't place any like shoe clutter or anything. I don't know, I was really trying to hold back on the clutter in this build because I didn't really see Bonehilda as having like too cluttered of a home. I mean, she is kind of, I think, supposed to be a maid. I'm not really sure exactly like all of her backstories to like the previous versions of The Sims 4. And like I mentioned before, I know nothing about Paranormal Stuff Pack because I missed the release of it. And so I just haven't took the time to get caught up about it, and I never played the game. So please, as always, fill me in with all the details in the comment section. But I just, yeah, I don't see her as having like too cluttered of a messy home. So even though I love to add a lot of clutter and detail, I tried to hold back, but I still feel like it feels like a fully like lived in, fully decorated home. And so I'm really happy with it. But yeah, over here is going to be the dining room. I actually really like the dining room a lot. At first, I wasn't sure if I was liking it necessarily because I felt like some of the furniture placement was a little bit awkward, and I don't know, I was just not super confident about it. But once it came together, I thought it was so pretty. And I ended up using this beautiful hutch that came from the Paranormal Stuff pack. The furniture in that pack is so nice. I wish though that the colors were not so crazy. Let me know if you guys agree, but most of the colors that came like on the furniture in that pack are nearly unusable in most cases. Like maybe if you're doing something that's a bit more, well, colorful, they might work, but in everyday homes or something more neutral, they're not that usable. And I feel like that's probably the most likely case, that you're going to be building something that's a little bit more neutral and not so colorful. And so I wish that they would have came in a few swatches that were more neutral. Thankfully though, this cabinet came in a white option because the white ended up working in here really nicely. But I wish like the desk and that cabinet came in like a brown swatch. And then the couch that came in that pack too is also really beautiful. It has like this throw blanket and some like really nice pillows, and it's so cool, but the color swatches are just way too much in my opinion. But there's a white option of that one too, and a blue option that's pretty nice too, but I think the pillows and blanket might be a bit too colorful. But I don't know, let me know if you guys disagree, but I wish that it would have came in some more neutrals. But anyways, there I just put a few decorations here in the cabinet. I sized down that really beautiful statue that came from the Vampires pack, and I thought it looked so nice in that cabinet. I also sized down another one of those statues and put it on the Fireplace Mantel, and I just completely obsessed with that. I ended up using that same statue that I placed in the cabinet again on the second floor. There's like this nice open area at the top of the stairs where I create a piano. I did the trick where I used the City Living keyboard and I merged it in with a couple of side tables that came from Cats and Dogs. I've done this quite a few different times now in different builds, and I just really love it. It actually looks really good, and yeah, I don't know, I sized it down again and put it up on top of there. So hopefully it's not too repetitive, but I couldn't help it. I just thought that statue was so pretty and it looks so nice sized down. And then another thing that I did on the piano is I used the book that came from Vampires, that like really pretty like open book on a stand. I'm not sure the proper name for it, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. But I sized it down and tilted it to look more like a music book for the piano. I'm obsessed. I can't wait for you guys to see it. But anyways, I am talking over me building the kitchen. I used these cabinets that came from Vampires in the black and white swatch. I thought that looked really pretty in here. The tile came from Realm of Magic, and then the stove and refrigerator came from the Country Kitchen kit, and I used it in the black swatch. I was trying to use the cream swatch to tie in more of like the cream from the rest of that, like the living room and the dining room, but it wasn't working for me. But it ended up having plenty of like a cream like hue to it, especially when I placed like the lights in here. And so I was actually really happy with it because I wasn't sure if it tied in as well with the rest of the build because there was so much black in here, but I think I like made it work. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. And then over here I'm using this really adorable shelf that came from Cottage Living, putting a few decorations on it, and that's it for the whole first floor. And then here I'm moving on to the second floor. So like I was talking about, there's this big open space here at the top of the staircase, and so I placed a piano in here, a seating area, like a bookcase, and I think just like a few pieces of artwork and like wall lights and that kind of stuff. Oh, here I really wanted to use this globe bar, but I did not have like a good spot to fit it. So yeah, I didn't end up using it. But something I wanted to mention, if you guys were wanting to download this build and you didn't want to use it for, you know, Bonehilda and her future baby, or if you wanted to use it for, I don't know, Bonehilda and a larger family, or just a different family in general, and maybe even a bigger family, you could easily like cut this area off into a smaller bathroom, because the bathroom that I ended up decorating up here is quite a big size. So I think you could easily turn it into a bedroom if you would like to. And so I thought that where the piano is could easily be just a small bathroom, or you could just use the downstairs bathroom, maybe add like a shower or something. I think that's possible, but I think there's some room to kind of like rework the floor plan a little bit if you would like to have like a larger family in here. So I thought I would mention it in case you guys were thinking that you love this house, but you saw maybe a bigger family living here. But anyways, here I created the piano. So like I've done before in the past, I use the keyboard that came from City Living, and then I use this side table that came from Cats and Dogs, and I just put two of them, one on top of the other, and the top one I turn around because I feel like that looks more like a piano. So the drawers and stuff are actually on the back side. And yeah, I just think it looks so cute, and I love the decorations that I put on top of it. I think they look really nice. And then here I'm using this book decoration that came from Vampires like I was talking about, and I'm using the tool mod by Twisted Mexi just to just rotate it a little bit and move it. And I was so worried that it was gonna like block the keyboard and it was somehow not going to be functional. But thankfully everything works just fine, and you will see Bonehilda practicing the piano in the screenshot. So I was completely like so happy with that, and I'm going to have to do that more often. I really hope at some point we will get just a regular stand-up piano, but for now I'm so happy that I'm able to create something that actually looks pretty decent in my opinion. But yeah, over here is going to be the upstairs bathroom, and it's a pretty large bathroom. So like I was saying, if you wanted to use the piano area for like a smaller bathroom and then turn this into a bedroom, I think that would work really nicely. But yeah, I think it actually looks really nice. It's just like a nice large bathroom, and I think it's decorated pretty. So I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, here I realized that I had a lot of the windows at different levels, and so it was messing with like my curtain placement. And so thankfully I noticed it. I hate when I don't notice stuff like that, and then I've like already uploaded it to the gallery, and I'm like, oh, hopefully they realize it and they fix it. I mean, maybe sometimes it's not as noticeable as I think it is if I mess it up, but yeah, at least I caught it here. But anyways, over here is going to be Bonehilda's bedroom. So in her room, I ended up using a lot more black furniture than I did in like the main living area, and so I thought this was actually really nice, and it tied in really nice to the rest of the build in my opinion, and so I was pretty happy with it. And I used some like warmer wood colors in here and some creams and stuff, trying to balance it out a little bit. So yeah, no, I think her room turned out to be really pretty, and I love the bed that I used in here. The bed came from the Cottage Living expansion pack, and I just love this bed. I think it's so pretty. I love the metal frame, and like the swatches of the bed are super pretty too. And I thought this one actually worked really nicely for Bonehilda. At first, I wasn't sure if it was like exactly what I was going for, but I just thought the colors of it were super pretty, and it was so cheerful. I feel like Bonehilda would be really cheerful. Of course, she could have any Sims traits. She could like hate children and be a snob and be like really mean and impossible to be around. But I see her like, if I was to create a Bonehilda from scratch, she would be pleasant. And I think the one that I downloaded from the gallery is like a family oriented and good or something like that. I forget exactly, but yeah, just what I imagined. But anyways, yeah, I talked over decorating her bedroom, but over here is going to be the nursery. So she has it all ready for her future baby. And so I used the bassinet that came from the Realm of Magic pack. I used a few just kind of kids decorations. I really wasn't sure. I'm really hoping that at some point we get more nursery stuff, because when it comes to artwork, I feel so just limited, especially for traditional artwork. And so I just used a massive vampire painting in here, but I thought it was kind of fun, and so I'm actually really happy with it. So that's what I decided to do, but I'm really hoping that we get some, I don't know, just like nursery stuff at some point, and a variety of like modern art, traditional art, and just like a whole mixture of furniture so we could easily decorate them for our babies, depending on, you know, whatever house they live in. I think that would be so cool. But yeah, that's it pretty much for the nursery. And the whole interior. And then here I'm moving on to the exterior. So like I mentioned, I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with the landscaping. I knew I wanted it to be pretty cheerful, and that's why I moved it to this world. And I just love the landscaping and like the whole atmosphere in this world. The only thing that I really don't like about this world necessarily are the entryways to the lots. While they look pretty and like nice and grand, they are so hard to build off of. Let me know if you guys agree. I find them so like kind of awkward, and I don't know where to like begin with adding plants and like a sidewalk. But I think here I made it work because I made sort of like a courtyard area leading into the entryway of the house. And I think that actually just like, I don't know, I think it separated the spaces really nicely, and it made the front part feel more like a driveway, I guess. I really don't know if they're supposed to be driveways or if they're supposed to be like just the front of the house. I don't know. I feel like they're so awkward even though they're pretty. But either way, I love this world, and I should probably build here more often because the atmosphere is just so pretty and all that kind of stuff. And I really liked using these hedges, by the way. The reason I chose these hedges is because it's the same one that's right next to the like sidewalk that just ends abruptly in front of the house. And so I felt like that made it feel a little bit more cohesive to like this lot in particular for this world. And so I'm actually really happy with it because I've never used these particular hedges before. But yeah, other than that, I of course used a variety of live edit objects plants. I'm always using live edit objects plants just because I feel like they're so much better. And I placed some different plant decorations, and I also used these red colored trees, which I thought were so pretty, and they were kind of like a nod to the original red brick of the house, how it was originally, which I did like I mentioned. It just didn't fit my color scheme, so I got rid of it. But I thought the trees were fun, and it added like a bit of color and variety to the landscaping. I also added some like red bushes. I don't know what you'll call them exactly, but I placed them throughout the landscaping a few different times. But here in the front, I do place like a little outdoor dining table, so Bonehilda could sit out here and have some coffee or tea in the morning or whatever she eats. I imagine she eats just like a normal sim, so whatever she prefers in that area. But yeah, I thought that looked super cute and nice and simple. I was trying to not overly clutter up the exterior, trying to make it feel cohesive with the interior, since the interior wasn't like overly cluttered and decorated, even though I do feel like it's fully decorated, like I mentioned. I also placed a few planter boxes. I placed a couple of smaller ones in the front, and I did have Bonehilda go through and plant them. So there's a death flower, there's some garlic, and then one other plant. I forget exactly. I think just like a regular non-exciting plant, but I thought the garlic was kind of fun. And then the death flower I never use when I'm doing like the planter boxes for my Sims and any of my builds, but I felt like if I was going to use it anywhere, this is like the perfect build for it. So yeah, I thought that was pretty nice. And then over here, I really wanted to use this flower archway that came from the Cottage Living expansion pack. You'll see, I find it here in just a moment. It took me forever to find it, but I find it. So I really wanted to use it, but unfortunately the textures on it and like the colors didn't really match the other greenery colors that I was using, so I felt like it just didn't really belong. But I thought it would have been nice there as like an archway leading to the backyard. But I like the way I ended up having it with those hedges, so you have to actually go on the porch to make it to the rest of the backyard, even though I think since these are live edit objects hedges, your Sims can just walk through them because they're not technically like objects necessarily, they're just decorative world objects, so your Sims don't see them there. But either way, I think the idea of it's nice. But here I'm creating the gazebo. So in the gazebo is where I place the is it a seance table or is it just like a fortune telling table? I know there's a proper name for it in the game and I am forgetting, but yeah, I placed it there and I think it actually looks really nice. And I also really liked using this stone pathway that came from Realm of Magic. I thought it looked really pretty throughout like all of the exterior. But here on the back porch, I also placed a gaming table, which I thought would be pretty fun because I was trying to think of like a different activity for your Sims to have. And so I thought a gaming table would be really fun. You could also place the Don't Wake the Llama game on there too, but I just left it blank so you could have like your Sims play cards or something like that. And then back here, I did place a couple of the larger planter boxes and I put a couple of trees in there. I think I put like an apple and like pear tree or something like that. But anyways, here I'm just adding the final few details and finishing the landscaping, and then we'll be going on to the screenshot. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this build, and like I mentioned, don't forget to check out the description box so you guys can watch MsGryphi's video where she builds a home for Patchy. I can't wait to see it. I know it's just going to be amazing. And yeah, follow the link to her channel, and then you guys can follow her on Twitter, and also she live streams on Twitch too, so definitely check that out as well. But anyways, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
I went out and tried to cut a pine tree down, fell through the ground like Alice. Oh, what a sound. This must be a nest. I got rocks and sticks against my chest. I'm Alice. Dear Queen of Hearts, I'ma grow you white roses so you can learn to be kind. Tell King of Hearts to arm all his forces so you can learn to be kind. Oh, what a start. Inside out and upside down. No stress, I'ma clean up this mess like Alice. First hand me scissors, then bring out the heavy artillery. Oh, justice is my middle name. I'm Alice. So you can learn